One of the things that I've noticed is if you are measuring your sleep states, you will begin to notice that the longer you're in deep sleep, the more refreshed you feel when you wake up. Because when the body is in that state, there is no mental activity. The body is in a complete state of rest. Complete state of rest. And you know, we talk about sleep when we say when you're asleep. Well, when you're in deep sleep, that's the only time you're asleep. Because when you're asleep, the body is in a sleep state. You're unaware of the ordinary state of awakeness that you experience during the day. You're unaware of that. The body's in a state of sleep. But the mental activity is continuing. So all you're doing is switching from one reality to another reality, right? Switching. And the reality that you're switching to is a reality that's different from the ordinary reality that we are experiencing during the day in the ordinary waking state. In the dream state, anything can happen. In the dream state, anything can happen. That means bad or good, anything can happen. When you're dreaming, you can fly. When you're dreaming, you can experience being in one place with something happening, and all of a sudden you're in another place with something happening, right? So the dream state is a different state than the waking state. In the waking state, you know, we're oriented to our conditioning, we're oriented to time and space. There are laws that apply, gravity applies, there are laws that apply, time applies, and so forth. So often what happens in the dream state is the issues that we're experiencing, the fears that we have about our life, or the desires that we have about our life appear in the stories that get played out in the mind when we're in the dream state. But the body's not able to relax then either, and the autonomic nervous system is activated when you're sleeping because it's activated because of the dream state. Right? So this is an out of balance condition. One side of the autonomic nervous system is called the sympathetic side. That's the fight, flight, or freeze side. The other side is called the rest or digest side. Now, that's the side that we don't spend enough time in, is the rest or digest side. So we're using breath work as a way of retraining ourselves to breathe in such a way that the autonomic nervous systems can start to come into a natural state of balance instead of being out of balance all the time. And because that's the case, if we get the body to relax, if we get the central nervous system to calm down, right, the mind and the body are interactive, right? So you can work on it from the mental side or you could work on it from the physical side. The breath work has a direct impact on the nervous system. Meditation has a direct impact on the mental state, right? So if you continue to practice diligently, persistently, consistently every day, practicing meditation for at least 30 minutes, sitting still, being silent, sitting in a posture, and then at least for 5 minutes you do an actual breath work exercise. You could do the 4-7-8 breath work practice, or the box breath practice. And you're practicing breathing with the LSD formula, light, slow, and deep. And you're doing this as often as you can remember to do it during the day. By practicing meditation and practicing this way of breathing, your mind-body system will start to come into a calm, relaxed state. And when you start to come into this calm, relaxed state through these practices, your ability to experience who you are becomes available. You know, we talk about, in these teachings, there's talk about, you know, what is our true nature? You know, And one of the things that's said often by the consciousness teachers or the spiritual teachers is, these teachings are not freedom for you, they're freedom from you, because you're the problem. You, the personality, is the problem, because the personality is by nature neurotic. It's by nature seeking things to be different than the way they are, which is the source of suffering. If you just follow that one axiom, if you just start to pay attention to the fact that during the day, the way the mental activity works, the way the personality works, is it's constantly judging and evaluating everything that's happening all the time. And it's judging it in relationship to the way you want it to be. Right? And the way you want it to be is you want pleasure, you want ease, right? You want enjoyment, right? But you don't want pain, you don't want suffering, you don't want that side of life. You don't want that side of life. So whenever that side of life is occurring, the mental activity starts to get agitated. If you're driving your car, all you have to do is pay attention and you'll see what I'm talking about, right? Because when you're driving your car, you're in competition with the other drivers, aren't you? When you're driving your car, the people in front of you are in your way, right? Especially in this country, and especially these days, right? Most of the major highways are racetracks. Nobody's going, if the police were going to give people tickets, they'd have to just pull everybody over. So you have to be sane in an insane world, right? And not expose yourself to having unnecessary accidents, and not expose yourself to being related to life as if life should be the way you want it to be instead of the way it is. And so the training of the mind is training the mind to be related to life as life is, instead of being upset when life doesn't fit your pictures, when it doesn't fit your conditioning, when it doesn't fit your standards. And in order to do that, you have to practice relaxing the mind. You have to practice not identifying with the mental activity. This is something that's very subtle, and it takes a while to even recognize it clearly, and that is that when thoughts are happening, do you take those thoughts to be yours? This is called the default state. When thinking is happening, you will find yourself falling into the idea that you're thinking the thoughts. And once you fall into the idea that you're thinking the thoughts, right, then you're in the conditioned version of yourself. You're in the version of yourself that wants everything to be the way you want it to be instead of the way it is. If you look at somebody who's well practiced, if you look at somebody who's been practicing meditation for a long time and has insight into the true nature of reality and has insight into the true nature of the personality and the mind and the body, you'll see somebody who maintains a very even way of being. They call it equanimity. It's a very even state of being. Right? And through practice, you can get to this very even state of being where you can be with life as life is. Right? So instead of relating to life as a thought activity, because it's not life that's upsetting. It's not life that's upsetting. It's life. What's happening is not the source of the upset. It's the thoughts and feelings you're having about it that's the source of the upset, and that's the mental condition, that's the mental state. So if you train your mind to stand down, if you train your mind to slow down, if you train your mind to quiet down by moving your attention away from it so that you have more of an experience of what it's like to be aware instead of think, life starts to get easier. Things start to get simpler. Life starts to get easier. And you can actually discover that life is not disturbing. Life is not disturbing. And when you can discover that life is not disturbing, you're experiencing a natural state of being. You're experiencing a way of being in life that will allow you to enjoy your existence instead of be neurotic about it all. that will allow you to enjoy your existence. That's why they have this statement that describes this state of being in the East. They have this statement called Sat Chit Ananda. Existence, right? The existence is happening, right? And the question is, what is the existence? Is the existence of your personality and that's what you are? Or is the existence of awareness itself and that's what you are? Sat Chit Ananda points to the idea that the natural state, that what you actually are, right, is consciousness or awareness. So it's existence as consciousness or awareness, and then there's an experience of happiness or bliss or satisfaction or contentment. That's the possibility. That's the possibility that the teachings point to. That's the possibility that these practices are designed to allow us to experience. But see, the problem is, if you just learn about the truth of, if you just learn about your true nature, if you just learn about your personality and your true nature, that can actually cause more suffering. Because if you learn about your true nature, but you're unable to experience it, right? Then you're just aware, you're more aware than ever of the mental state that you're stuck in. And the mental state that you're stuck in, right, is a survival modality. It's a survival system. It's a survival operation. And as I said earlier, the way it works to guarantee that you don't make a mistake and not take something that is a threat to you, not to be a threat, right? The way the system is organized, it considers everything to be a threat. There's actually an aspect of the brain called the amygdala, right? And its design function is to be monitoring all incoming data to determine if anything that's coming in is a threat to your existence. Okay? But the way it guarantees that it won't miss a threat is it considers everything a threat, which means your autonomic nervous system is in some degree of fight, flight, or freeze at all times, which means that it's putting stress on your body. And if it's putting stress on your body, that's going to cause you not to sleep well at night. It's going to cause you to be more neurotic. It's going to cause you to be more irritable. It's going to cause you to be harder to get along with. It's going to cause you to have difficulty putting up with yourself. That's an important thing to take note of, right? That we have difficulty putting up with ourselves. We have difficulty experiencing our own mind because the mind that is playing is a mind that's constantly generating thinking. That's an evaluation of what's going on, right, with a concern. It's an evaluation of what's going on with a concern that something is going to happen that's going to get me all the time. Right? So through practice, see, that's the conditioned state. Through practice, we have the birthright. We've all been born with the possibility of waking up to our true nature. That's there. The experience of yourself as awareness is a constant. It's always there. Right? But our attention is being taken by the thinking activity, by the physical sensations, and by the emotions, is it not? Your attention is being taken by that all the time. That puts you in a world of suffering. Puts you in a world of suffering. And the evidence for that is the fact that all most human beings seek to do is get relief. Isn't it? You go to work to get money so that you can pay for the distractions that you look at after work before you go to sleep. Isn't it? You go to work to get money so that you can pay for the alcohol that you can drink to tranquilize the body. Right? Or today, to buy the pot at the dispensary to tranquilize the body and calm the mind. And then look at television to distract yourself, to pay attention to something other than your life so you can get some relief. That's a damn shame, that the thing that we're avoiding more than anything is life itself. The thing that we're avoiding more than anything is life itself, and we distract ourselves through mental activity, through all kinds of, and now with the internet and smartphones, right, we have more available than we've ever had before to live in our head. We have more available than we've ever had before to distract ourselves. Right? So a human life becomes a mental process instead of an experience of being alive. The human life becomes a mental process instead of an experience of being alive. And you have to be able to develop the discipline and the consistency and the persistence to do these practices long enough for you to start to have a direct experience of what these teachings are pointing to. Up until that time, all you have is a conceptual understanding of the possibility. That's all you have. Yeah? And the personality, which is what you take yourself to be, hears the teachings and decides, oh, I want that. That's what I want, right? I want that. I want that experience in which I can be happy and free and satisfied all the time. I want that. The problem is the personality is what's in the way of having that, because the personality is a mental activity. And until you understand that, you can't escape the fact that the mind is determining your life. Until you understand that, you can't escape the fact that the mind is determining your life. Instead of you using your mind, it's using your life. Instead of you using your mind, it's using your energy and it's using your life to live a life of quiet desperation. So you've got to be able to have the discipline and the persistence and the commitment to the practices necessary to be awake. And the number of people that are successful in establishing meditation practice shows the evidence, shows that for the most part, people are living under the dictatorship of their mind. I can tell you to practice 30 minutes a day of silence and stillness as meditation, moving your attention away from the mental activity. I can tell you that that's a guaranteed practice over time that will start bringing aliveness into your life. And yet, having heard that, most people cannot do that. In the years that I've been teaching meditation, right, I've seen it again and again and again that people come to the class, and when I ask them, have you ever practiced meditation? Most of the time they say yes, but I didn't continue to do it. That's evidence that the mind is determining that person's life, right? Because 30 minutes a day, most people waste 30 minutes a day, right? So the idea that you don't have time is nonsense. That's not true, right? And the other question is, well, what are your priorities? If your priority is to be healthy and live long, if your priority is to be happy, and these teachings are pointing to the possibility of experiencing yourself in such a way that that's available to you, of course you're going to want that, right? But it's not free lunch. You've got to have the discipline. This class is an opportunity. Every time you come to this class, what I speak of here, right, will gradually have the idea that you're your personality get weak. The more exposure you have to the truth that your personality is not real, over time that will allow that personality to get weaker and weaker. And as it gets weaker and weaker, it will lose its ability to determine you. And then you'll have more say-so. You'll be able to have what you say be what you do. You'll have your commitment be something that you can express. When you can do 30 minutes a day, and when you can practice breathing consciously so that you're training your body to calm down and you can get better sleep and you can get deeper sleep, you're moving in the direction of becoming alive. You're moving in the direction of being awake. And when you start to succeed in experiencing this experience, you understand that life is not difficult. Life is relatively easy, you know. It's the thinking and the emotions and the reactions to life that's difficult. And these practices and these teachings will allow you to gradually come out of that condition. But only if you persist. Only if you come to this class on a regular basis or do whatever you do to expose yourself to teaching and to expose yourself to meaningful practices like conscious breathing and meditation. If you study these teachings about healthy breathing, one of the things that they say is you start out by practicing this light, slow, and deep breathing in a relaxed state. But then they say, also begin to practice it when you're exercising. Why? Because this way of breathing allows the body to get more oxygen, which makes the exercise more useful, right? So they tell you to start practicing and exercising. You know, athletes, professional athletes, right? They get coached on sleep. They get coached on sleep. And they get coached on healthy breathing techniques. They get coached on these things because these things make a difference in terms of their performance. The mental state and the physical state of a professional athlete is something that is being paid a lot of attention to, right? Because that's what's going to allow you to perform. We should be paying as much attention to that as a professional athlete, because it has everything to do with your physical health, has everything to do with your clarity, your mental clarity, has everything to do with your state of being, has everything to do with whether you're happy or not, satisfied and content. And it takes you out of the non-workability of living your life in such a way where the circumstances are determining your well-being. As long as that's the case, your life is going to be suffering. Has to be suffering. Okay? If you can get that to shift so that the source of your well-being is the experience of your existence itself, right? If you can get that to shift so that the experience of well-being is coming from within instead of from without. You're experiencing the awareness that you are is a miraculous experience that is incomprehensible, and that's the source of your well-being. I mean, if you just look at that on the face value, doesn't that make sense? You know, that this miraculous experience of your existence that's incomprehensible is the source of your well-being. If you just let that in, if you just digest that, you can see that that's natural. That's a natural way of being in the world.